Some lucky loggers at the old sawmill received a surprise gift from the king yesterday. His Highness, somehow sensing that his hard-working subjects had missed the most important meal of the day, arrived with a big smile and a platter full of breakfast delicacies. Several of the stunned lumberjacks were interviewed afterwards, but it is unsure what they said, as their mouths were full.
I hope you're ready for another 20 minutes of Sneak King content, because that is exactly what you are getting today. This time we're in the cul-de-sac, and there were a few things that set the cul-de-sac apart from the previous locations. The cul-de-sac is very small, contained, and there are a lot more people moving next to each other than there were in the construction site. I think the circular nature also makes it more satisfying to jump from customer to customer, but I'm not sure whether that's intentional. Still pretty fun, though. There are a couple missions where you'll want to memorize where people walk and where they spawn and which houses they go into, but for the most part this area is pretty simple, and most of the challenge comes from how close the customers are to each other. Simply put, the cul-de-sac makes avoiding blue vision cones more difficult because everybody's rubbing shoulders all the time, as you're seeing. It's not all that bad once you figure out that as long as you're not physically touching a vision cone, then you're fine. It'll probably give you a few scares when you start out. Challenge completed. It actually looks like a pretty nice day out here. So this mission is just more, don't mash the fucking A button reinforcement. We have an inventory of 6 Whoppers. We need to deliver at least 3 of them. If we press the A button at the wrong time, we just drop a fucking Whopper on the ground. So don't press the A button at the wrong time, you fucking dummy. That's basically what this mission boils down to. I kind of feel like every mission from this point on should have an inventory. Just because, why not? You're going to press the A button at the wrong time so infrequently if you're playing the game properly that there may as well always be an inventory. I mean, I get why the inventory mechanic showed up. It's to stop people from cheesing the game by mashing A, just like the flourish mechanic. Except maybe the inventory mechanic is a bit harsher. That being said, after you learn not to mash A, there's no reason the inventory mechanic can't just stick around permanently. Sure, it would make the missions harder if you have butterfingers. I guess the best way to sum it up is that it's not a big fucking deal, but it's kinda cute they added this mechanic anyway. Challenge completed. I always carry at least 6 Whoppers with me. So yeah, when I said that Sneak King makes sure every mechanic is explored thoroughly, I do mean every single fucking one. Like, everything you can think of in this game is going to get at least one mission exploring it. In this mission, we have to deliver to customers while the burger above their head is flashing red. And we can't deliver to them any other time. This means basically just rubbing up against them until they're about to die of hunger. Which is normally what we do anyway for maximum score. But this time it's mandatory. What I would normally do, but this time it's mandatory, actually describes most of the game's challenges, I think. A lot of the challenges, at least in the first few locations, are just, hey, you know that thing you were already doing because you cared about score? Well, now you have to do it. And on a personal level, I like that because it makes me feel smart for already doing it. But that's just me personally. If you weren't already doing these things, then these challenges would actually be a lot more challenging. These people always walk around like they've got somewhere to be, like they're busy. But I have no idea what they're even doing. If you follow them, they never go anywhere important. Maybe it's just that they want to seem like they've got somewhere to go. They don't communicate with each other, but then again, they all speak in Wawa, so I don't know how that works. The lighting in this location is a little bit surreal to me. It seems like overly well lit, but then again, it is midday. Challenge completed. I could have fed you earlier, but then I wouldn't get as many style points. Ah, now we have an inventory of 5 and we can't lose a single one. Truly, we're in the big leagues right now. Again, I really feel like this inventory mechanic should just be in the whole fucking game after this point. On any mission where you need to complete a certain number of deliveries, I mean. The more free missions, no, but when you need to make a certain number of deliveries, I feel like the inventory mechanic could always be here. I don't like that this truck says Swift Removals. I know they're a moving company, but that name just rubs me the wrong way. I wonder if this is like a completely average weekday for these people, or if this is the weekend. Because I don't see anyone coming home or going to work. Or, you know, everyone here could work from home. That's also entirely a possibility. It's not like this is a huge neighborhood or anything. For all I know, not only could they be working from home, but they could also all be in business together. It seems equally plausible. Maybe that's why they all live in this small neighborhood together. Or this could be some sort of elite micro-society profiting off the misfortune of others so they don't actually need to work. All I'm saying is these are some nice houses, and you don't get houses this nice on a dime, okay? It's probably really expensive to live here. I really wish this game was released as part of the Simple series in Japan. I know the Simple series was PS2 exclusive, but this would fit in so perfectly. Just being called The Sneaking would have been perfect for that series. It's maybe a bit longer than most Simple series games since it comes in at around 4 hours without deaths. Did I just say deaths? There's no dying in Sneak King. Challenge completed. Sneak King is a shining example of non-violent video games. Does Burger King still sell the BK chicken fries? Because I used to really like the BK chicken fries. But I have no idea if they're even in circulation anymore. That was also back when I think their chicken nugget recipe was different and their chicken recipes as a whole tasted different. Did you know that I do eat and enjoy fast food? I know it may be shocking, but I do think most people eat and enjoy fast food, which is, I know it's a bit surprising, but given the success of McDonald's, Burger King, and other fast food restaurants, someone must be eating fast food. You wouldn't know it, because on the internet everyone seems to talk about fast food like it tastes like fried salty turds, but I have a suspicion at least a few of those people eat fast food themselves, and also don't gag while doing so. It's okay to be the people that Invader Zim is making fun of. Alright, Invader Zim is incredibly misanthropic. If you fall under the umbrella of human, that's fine. I mean, it's not ideal. Ideally, you wouldn't be human, but if you are human, that's okay. But humans have thoughts and feelings and emotions and beliefs, and that's kind of horrifying. So I would understand if you want to opt out of being human. Being human means things like if you have a variety of mental disorders that you have no control over, you might have issues doing things that you enjoy, like commentating over Sneak King. And nobody would be aware if you had issues if you didn't keep bringing them up during your Let's Plays of things like Sneak King, in places where people would least expect to hear about these things. You know, hypothetically. Man, game design is real fucking weird. I've said this so many times, but the value of game design is not measured in how much you can say about it. Like, there are a bunch of games I can barely talk about at all because the design is so simple, but I would consider them to be fucking great. And there are games with really complex design that I consider to be quite bad. And the opposite is also true sometimes, of course. Challenge completed. It turns out there is no generalized shortcut to proper analysis. I mean, if we're using the chain mechanics at all, then getting over 2,000 points in 3 deliveries, that's nothing. I mean, it wants 2,000 points gotten in a single delivery, but we can use our chain to get that. It's hard to talk about. There are some things the English language has difficulties with, and I have difficulties with. Basically, oh, we already got over 2,000 points. It doesn't fucking matter. We did the thing. Challenge completed. It doesn't fucking matter if you do the thing. Okay, there's no way for me to tell exactly who is and isn't female, so we're just going to have to deliver to people who appear female by the standards of when this game was released. For example, I don't know if this is a woman. It's just a person with a ponytail. Delivering to women specifically, by the way, also makes this mission take a lot longer, as one might expect, because we have to look for a very specific kind of customer and stalk them, instead of just stalking everyone. People's reactions to seeing the king, I think, are very appropriate. You know, normally, when I'm doing videos, I have some sort of reference, like another game I played, like the one I'm currently playing, to compare it to. But I can't think of anything to accurately compare to Sneak King. Don't think I've ever played anything else exactly like it. In the first video, when I said it's basically an arcade game, I think that's as close as you can get. But there's no arcade games like this either, to my knowledge. Not that I would complain if I saw this in arcades. I would probably do a really dramatic gasp and maybe start laughing, and then immediately, like, you know, find a quarter. I wish arcade games were not arcade games. And I don't mean that in the sense that I wish their design would change to suit my interests. I mean, like, I wish they were easier to find, more readily available, easier to record. Just in general easier to preserve is what I'm looking for. Like a few years back, I played a 3D Justice League beat-em-up that I couldn't seem to find anywhere near me, but it was in a theater that I went to very briefly on vacation. And I got to play it, and it was fucking awful, but I immediately thought, damn, I wish I could record this somehow to share it with everyone. Because it's a 3D Justice League beat-em-up, and it's arcade exclusive. And you should really see this shit. Because it was really fucking weird, and not intentionally, I think. I think it was unintentionally surreal. It was clearly inspired by, like, old school beat-em-ups, but at the same time didn't feel anything like them, and the environment and enemy types was very bizarre. The whole thing really feels like a dream, but I'm positive I actually went there and did that. And it just makes me so sad that there's no way for me to record that or share it with anyone, aside from physically going back to that theater, bringing a camcorder, and pointing it at the machine. Which is not ideal. Not just because, you know, that would create horrible video quality, but there will be other people around watching me record a Justice League beat 'em up, and I might get kicked out. That reminds me of a developer that I played a couple of games from. I think their name is Toka. They developed Soul Fighter and Hidden Invasion, neither of which you've ever heard of, unless you watched me play those. And they're in love with beat 'em ups. In their interviews, they say they used to go to arcades and point cameras at the beat 'em up machines and record footage for study, and they would often get kicked out for doing that. And I don't want to end up like that. I don't want to end up making beat 'em ups no one loves. I've already played a lot of beat 'em ups that no one loves, that I love, and that already hurts. Why would I want to make one that no one loves? Just to level up? Just to make it even worse on myself? I feel like before I do that, I should at least fucking finish playing all the unloved beat 'em ups that I love first. I mean, I haven't even gotten around to watch them in the end is nigh yet. You know? I should at least do a couple more beat 'em ups that I really love that everyone else hates first. I should play more games that I like in general. Seems like a good idea. I don't know, I guess some small part of me is afraid of going to that next big thing I love. Because even though I have a lot of people who watch these videos in general that are very understanding of game design and are more open-minded than the average person that consumes video games, a part of me is still used to the years and years I went through where people refused to give games with low review scores or unorthodox mechanics a chance, and sometimes snubbed entire genres. And then I remember all the times I tried to share things that people hated and it went really well, like Ken's Rage. I got a lot of people really interested in the original Ken's Rage, and I'm very proud of that. And I'm sure I could do that for other games too, it's just, you know, the fear is always there. The next few LPs are going to be those kinds of games anyway, so regardless of the fear, it's happening. I guess Sneak King is technically one of those games everyone hated too. But I feel like there's so little going on here that it's relatively low stakes, you know, it's not like this is a creative masterpiece with unique game mechanics, or it's trying to do something mind-blowing or incredibly overly artistic. It's a very simple game with simple game design. It's very low stakes if you think it's awful. Personally, I think it's great, but if you think it's awful, it's not like the stakes are incredibly high. It's not like I'm going to argue with you for hours about the nature of game design and creativity using Sneak King as a base. You know, I just realized something in my previous statement. The game mechanics in this game aren't exactly unique, but they're combined in such a way that I really haven't seen in any other game. So even though they're not unique, they're done in a very strange fashion. Challenge completed. I forgot what I was fucking talking about.